Hello and welcome back to the Full 40 with Willie and Tommy today. Presented by nobody. Let me just start from the top here. We still don't have a sponsor, which is fine. We'll do this a cappella. We'll do this by ourselves. We don't need a sponsor, but sponsors make our lives easier. So if you guys know a sponsor, because none of us want to reach out to one, frankly, like that's just not what we want to do. We all have other stuff going on in our lives. Help us get sponsored. Help us get sponsored. That's what we want to do. Tommy, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm easily bought as well. So if anybody listening would like to sponsor us for very little, I'm available.
And I know we have a big Saudi Arabian demographic. If you all want to sponsor the podcast, right. I'm very, very anti like sports washing, but I will take a sports washing. I have a number for sports washing, and we will make this podcast like the number one podcast in Saudi Arabia for the right dollar amount. So, I mean, that's where I'm at. I don't know about you, Tommy.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes, So we had since we last spoke, we talked right before Old Dominion, and then Temple. And then we had Penn and then a Michigan game that happened. So we've had 4 games to talk about. Old Dominion, probably we're not going to spend that much time on. I'm glad Matt Hodge got to play in front of his dad and play well in front of his dad, but like,
very cool.
That's about it. Like, I don't think there's anything much there to talk about Old Dominion wise, but let's talk about the Big Five. So we played Temple and Penn, won both pretty easily. Temple gave us a little bit more of a, like, I wouldn't say a scare or anything like that, but they were just competitive for basically the first half, and then we pulled away. Any thoughts that came out of the Temple game for you? Or also, let's even throw away that. I'm going to talk about both games, then we'll talk of this at a high level because we're going to spend some time talking about Michigan. But yeah, so then there's Temple game. We pretty much, I think we led wire to wire, and there was never really. Oh no, we did fall. We were down by a little bit in the third quarter. Sorry, or not third quarter of the game, but early second half. And then we had Penn, and Penn was kind of, we did what we needed to do versus Penn. We were finally crowned the Big Five. I can't remember if it's a festival, classic, I think it's classic.
Tournament champion.
Big tournament champions, yeah. So we finally got that. We had posted a "We Own the City" type of situation. So I think we are the owners of Philadelphia. So Philadelphia is now part of Villanova. That's how we're actually saying it now that we won the Big Five. But any thoughts on those games?
I got it wrong. I'd like to correct myself. It was the Big Five Classic.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was Classic. Yeah.
Yeah. The Temple game, Tyler Perkins, I want to talk about him. He had an offensive rating of 190 in that game. He was 5 of 7 from 3. I thought that was extremely impressive. Overall, though, this Temple team is not one that is going to light you up offensively. They don't have a bad offense per se. We're ranked 89th in the country in offensive rating, but holding them to 56 points is quite impressive for Villanova. They're not one of the patty cake teams that they've played earlier in the year. Looking at you, Sacred Heart, Old Dominion, those kind of games. But yeah, Tyler Perkins was extremely impressive. Another one I wanted to shout out in that game was a Caden Lewis. The way he has the ball on a string in the backcourt, and he made some freshman mistakes as he does, but 8 assists in that game.
Yep.
His facilitating, his ball handling for a freshman is just extremely impressive.
Yeah, I said this in our group chat about a Caden Lewis, but he has to be the best freshman guard, like in terms of minutes, most impactful freshman guard since Arcidiacono. Like, obviously, Brunson was probably as impactful, but it was on a better team, so it was a little bit different there. But with what we need for Caden Lewis, like, he's the first point guard, in the simplest way we'll put it, is he's the first freshman point guard that we've flat out handed the keys to since Arch. because even I think people thought it was going to happen with Quinterly, and then NBA superstar Colin Gillespie stepped up to the plate and was like, "No, these are this is my this is my car I'm driving." So
Shout
yeah,
out
I mean,
CG, man.
yeah, shout out
He's
CG,
he's hooping in the NBA right now.
absolutely killing it to a level that like I thought he would like. I always thought he'd make the NBA. Like that's one of my tweets I always go back to that I like tweeted when in his second game of his sophomore year. I was like, I think this is an NBA player.
Hmm.
I didn't think it was going to be. I like sixth man of the year candidate. Like I didn't think that was going to be where it's at, and that's kind of where he's at right now.
Got
He's
the ultimate compliment from Anthony Edwards.
yeah, he said he's
12,
good.
12, 12 a good player.
Yep, 12 a good player, um, which is hilarious. But yeah, getting back to Lewis, like I liked the Temple game. Um, he's like he isn't like launching three pointers, which I kind of appreciate from him specifically. He probes a lot. Like you said, he's a really good passer. I think he had what 0 turnovers in the game versus Temple too. So just like a really good point guard for us. I liked what we saw in the Temple game out of him, and then we get to Penn, and Penn was just kind of like, I mean, we handled business, which is what a good team is supposed to do. We've seen this over the last 3 years, basically. Like we haven't handled the big five games in the way that we should have. Like we've still won more than we've lost overall. I think I can say that confidently, but it might even be closer than I think. Um, but overall, like we handled business versus a Penn team that we should have handled business versus we're able to get more people into the onto the floor. Nobody played above 30 minutes. Duke Brennan, like I mean, did his thing again. Once again, he had 15, and I don't think he got a double double. Maybe he
Yeah.
did. He did. Yeah, he
Yeah.
got to 10. Yeah, he got to 10. Okay, cool. And then yeah, also talking about the passing, it was another good passing game by Caden Lewis. He had 7 assists, had 2 turnovers, but once again, like we're okay with that. Yeah, I really liked what I saw from the Penn, like in the Penn game. Askew and Lindsay both put up like really good numbers. Just kind of hitting a lot of their threes. Lindsay, I think, went like 5 of 6 from deep or anything, something like that.
Yeah, and that was all in the second half. He had all of his points in the second half, and I have to give you your flowers a little bit. When we were doing our preseason opening episode, you said Bryce Lindsey is your
Yep.
guy on this team, and I see why. I mean, you look at the games like the Sacred Heart game and the second half of the Penn game. I was telling my friends who were at that game, you're going to want to watch number 2 because he's exciting, he's electric, and it
Yep.
was truly special to see how much of a burst he can give this team in such little time. And this is a team that's really we'll touch on this a little bit later, but I texted you separately, or no, I texted you in the group chat about that this team is really lacking someone who can create their own shot. And the two guys that we've been highlighting here a little bit, Bryce Lindsey and a Caden Lewis. Bryce more than a Caden right now,
Yep.
but those are going to be the two that can step up, along with Devin Askew as well.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, thank you for my flowers there. Remember, everybody, I do know ball. But Bryce Lindsey, I mean, I've loved what I've seen out of him. Yeah, and like overall, just like I think what we're seeing is like once again, we're looking at like I'm looking at the minutes distribution. And obviously, this is a game versus a non-power team, but like 9 players getting significant minutes. Then we had deep bench of Stanford, Pierce, and Flags. Stanford's interesting. I know he's coming back from the injury. He hasn't taken over as much as I thought he would, as he would have right now. I don't know how much of that is just he's being eased in and like he's still probably not like he's probably like 85-90% and maybe not like fully 100 or like and definitely not fully 100 and like being up to game speed. You can see that very clearly. But for all the preseason tout we heard about him, hasn't shown too much yet. And that's not even like that's not a dig or anything like that. It's
No,
just
no.
it's early, but like I'm excited because in theory this as he gets more comfortable, hopefully by like the throws of Big East play, like we're able to see more from Stanford and he's able to up drive us forward a bit.
Yeah, only 6 minutes in this one. I don't know what it was, if he was feeling under the weather, if he forgot his shoes. I don't know what happened in this one. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see his usage go down in the Penn game. But yeah, Stanford is one of my guys for sure. And I think this is a callback to one of the earlier episodes as well, where we said that this team, Devin Askew, I think did something with his hand, and I think Kapari was injured for a little bit in the preseason, and we were expecting Stanford to be out until about this time, or maybe even a couple more weeks.
Yep.
So I think that time that he missed with that ankle injury is really catching up to him. And I think once we get the ground running with Big East play, he'll definitely pick it up a little bit more. But yeah, I do like what I see in spurts. I think the LaSalle game, there was his best showing of spurts where he could do it on both ends of the floor. There was one possession in a LaSalle game where he got a steal and then a nice dish to a wide open Duke Brennan on the other side. So I think that's the kind of player you're going to get with Zion Stanford. Just got to get him healthy first.
Yeah. No, 100% agree. Yeah. I mean, overall, like, it's the Big Five. So we did what we need to do. I think this is actually like a good chance to kind of talk about. I mean, there's a referendum of like, should we be playing the Big Five games? Is that something that like we like as a program that we should do? I'm pretty like confident of like I'm fine playing the Big Five games. I don't think it's something that we should remove. I just think we reduce the amount of earlier cupcakes that we play then. And
Right.
obviously this can change because not even, I mean, I could go back to 25 years ago when Temple and St. Joe's were also really good, but even 10 years ago, like there was like a LaSalle, like LaSalle made the Sweet 16. Like there have been good teams that have played in the Big Five in the last decade. But it's the last 5-6 years, it hasn't really been anybody but us, frankly, that's been like that good. I'm trying to think if I missed maybe like a good Temple year in there. I don't think so. There hasn't been any like particular good St. Joe's years.
They
And
were
so,
frisky the last couple of years, but
yeah.
not tournament bound. But yeah, there's a really good article by Jeff Nyberg out in the Inquirer about Villanova and the future of the Big Five. I recommend you go read that. You all go read that. And I think Dylan Johnson from the Villanova just dropped one recently as well.
Okay.
Really good reads. Both of those articles. I 100% agree with you. I think the logistics of cutting out the cupcakes, because Willard is very big on scheduling, especially early season scheduling. So I don't think that this current format is going to be the future of the Big Five.
Yeah.
There's a lot to work around, and that's the fun of talking about it here on this podcast. But yeah, I don't know what the future of the Big Five looks like, but it can't be what it was. It was the crowds down there were. I mean, shout out to Villanova fans. Shout out to you guys listening. It was Villanova took over. People make the like. I think they had Kyle Pagan from Crossing Broad like shivering in his boots because he had all this stuff to say about Villanova and not a city school, and if you think it is or it isn't, whatever. But the way that Villanova fans showed out to the Big Five, they filled their section out. I'm not sure that the other 5 teams in the Big Five combined would have filled up the student section the way the Villanova fans did. That was cool to see, but also on the flip side, concerning for the other 5 schools.
I think this is where like my hurdle with it is like, I mean, we haven't been that great last 3 years. Like that's just what it's been. And each year it's been an upset that we've not won or done well. And that's been a testament to like all the stuff that's happened in the past, whatever. I want to see like if Temple and St. Joe's can get to the stage of being like upper tier A10 and American teams. I think we like even not even tournament teams, but if they're like 19 and 13 every season and they're just like actual top 90 net teams, like I think there's something to be said of like, okay, this can actually work. But instead, Temple is like 166. St. Joe's is, I don't know what they are, but like probably around the same area of that. And until they can get there, if that ever happens again, it's just like it creates this situation of like, okay, do we play these 3 games? I say yes. I say you play these 3 games, and it's just instead of playing like we had Queens, Duquesne, Sacred Heart, and Old Dominion. You get rid of Sacred Heart and Duquesne, and I know that was part of like the Villanova challenge, but like, okay, cool. If you're going to do the Villanova challenge or whatever, make it an actual challenge. And sorry, it's no longer Queens and Duquesne. It's like, I mean, you can even go as far as like, let's just get VCU and like Rutgers, and like, hey, that's what it is. And like, whether or not we win those games, it's stronger teams. I know VCU is not a power team, but like, just it tends to be at the top of the conference, and that's what we schedule instead. And then, okay, we have Temple and St. Joe's and LaSalle and Penn, whoever, and Drexel, whatever rotation of those 5 we get. And those are the easier games. And I understand that there's also like, well, there's the city behind it, and they do tend to play us better, especially when we're not as good of a team.
Right.
Um, but I just think that's what you have to do. And then if we see Temple and St. Joe's or any of these programs take a step forward, then maybe we can readjust and think about like, all right, maybe we can now get more cupcakes on the schedule. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, because now we're left with a situation of we have and like I don't think we had a bad schedule by any stretch of the imaginations, but we had
No.
BYU, Michigan, which we're going to talk about the Michigan game, Pitt and Wisconsin non-con. Those are like the non-conference like names. Pitt's disappointing. We already
Yeah.
lost to BYU. We already lost to Michigan. And now you're left with just Wisconsin left as your key non-conference game. And it's on the road. It'll be our neutral. So it's not going to count, even though we're in. That's what I hate. And that's another thing. Don't play that neutral. Go play them at the Kohl Center. Don't do
Right.
that. Don't do that at Pfizer.
Right. Playing BYU in Vegas.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for us here. Just like, yeah. And so now we're at the situation where it's like, okay, well, we don't have any more bites at the apple. And I understand in year one of Willard, like why they would do this. We'll see what year two begins to look like. Do we get back into an MTE and it doesn't really, not that doesn't matter, but like we have less control over it. But speaking of Saudi Arabia, do we go play in Saudi Arabia in the Riyadh Invitational? Speaking of Saudi Arabia. So I just think there's a lot of things to be like we need to think about with this. But yeah, overall, I want to see. I would love to see Temple, St. Joe's, and all them like get back to that level where it's like, okay, like if we take it out of them, it's not even the end of the world. And like, I would like if they're gonna like if Temple fans are gonna talk shit, like yeah, talk shit about a team that like what was really good and like either made the tournament or just missed the tournament. And it's like, yeah, this is a real team. That's kind of where I'm at.
Right. Yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head. I agree wholeheartedly with all of your points. I think the concept of buy games and kind of going off what you were talking about with playing true home games, like with going and playing at St. Joe's, playing at LaSalle, like that doesn't do anything for Villanova. Like I do think it would be beneficial. Throw LaSalle $100,000, tell them to come over here, and we're going to play this game at home. I think that benefits both programs. I do miss the MTEs. I think that's more of a selfish thing than anything else, but I miss Feast Week. Kyle Neptune never lost in a ballroom. Fun fact.
Never lost in a ballroom.
Never lost in a ballroom. Now, I was talking to somebody about that the other day. It's on the top of my head.
We've never lost in a ballroom.
I don't
think we've. Every time we've gone to Atlantis, we've won, and I don't recall playing in other ballrooms.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
just get us in ballrooms, man. It's where the game should be played. Conference centers and hotels. But no, yeah, I don't have too much more to add. I just 100% agree with your points.
Yeah. All right, so we played Michigan in a game yesterday. I have a couple of things I want to say about it. I think, and I tweeted this from the Full 40 account, I think I was higher on just like what I saw in that game than like what I felt like consensus was. Michigan had just come off a stretch. Let's just start from the top of beating. I'm going to give us in order. San Diego State by 40, Auburn by 40, and Auburn who was ranked I think top 20 at the time, and I think they're still generally in that area. Gonzaga who was top 10, maybe 12 at the time. They beat them by 40. They beat multiple teams directly by 40. Then they beat a Rutgers team by 41. And if you had watched them play in any of those stretch of games, it was like, oh, they have been devouring, tearing teams apart. Wake Forest and TCU both pushed them early. They played TCU on the road. We might talk about this a little bit later. I'm actually a big TCU guy. I saw them play here in San Diego, and I was like, where they won the Rady Invitational, and I was like, oh no, this is a very, very good team. But it's early season, so I'm going to give like a little bit of like grace for Michigan of like that. And then it was away and a neutral site versus Wake Forest. I don't know where they played Wake Forest neutrally. Probably Charlotte would be my guess, but whatever. Since that point, they've been absolutely tearing teams limb from limb.
Detroit.
Okay. I guess that makes more sense. But yeah, they've been tearing teams limb from limb. So that's the team that we were going into. They were at home. it did not go well. Like, let's be like, I'm not even taking a moral victory out of it. Like, there's not like, oh, well, we should, like, I don't care that we lost by 28 and everybody else by 40. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I just like came away from that looking like, okay, we know exactly where we are in the hierarchy of college basketball at the moment. And this is going to sound insane as I'm about to say it, but like we also saw like people for like teams do this early season. Auburn did basically this exact thing, a little bit different and a little bit worse this last year. Now Auburn went to the Final Four. It's not like it was a disappointment that Auburn went as far as they did, but like Michigan doing this does not mean they're going to win the title. They are arguably the favorite. There's Arizona, like, whatever. We can talk about that at another point. But this happens. This is early season. I just came away from that game kind of understanding, okay, I now know where in the hierarchy we're at. There's definitely some things I felt like I want to like say like, all right, these are like some issues that I saw. But Tommy, I'll kind of let you take the floor. What did you think about broad strokes the game?
Um, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a net neutral, right? There's some positives and some negatives, as there is every game, but um, I don't think anybody expected Villanova to go into Michigan and win this game. They ran into a buzzsaw,
Yep.
and that's what it was. I mean, it was just a buzzsaw. Now, listen, like you said, I don't want to nitpick things too much. Did I love the body language on some of these guys on the defensive end after some ticky tack fouls or some blown communications? No. Did I love Hodges' role kind of lurking around the 3-point line instead of getting Duke Brennan the much needed rebounding help that he clearly needed
Yep.
in that game? And he was struggling. I think he had 4 fouls.
Yep. And he
Uh,
had 4 fouls like early. Like it was
early.
like by like the 15-minute mark in the second half, he had 4 fouls.
Yeah. It was tough for him. He had as many rebounds as a Caden Lewis in that game. They both led the team with 6 rebounds.
Yep.
But I think it says more about a Caden though. That was
Yep.
impressive showing from the freshman. But yeah, I mean, there are some things that concern me about this game, but there's no red flags going up. You run into a buzzsaw in college basketball sometimes, and that happens. Some good things that I pulled out from that game. Devin Askew,
Yeah.
the game against Temple, he has 3 points. He's getting blown by on the defensive end. It's tough to watch him out there at some of these games. But then you go into Michigan, and I said this to a couple people, but I think him being as experienced as he is in college is really beneficial for this team. This locker room. This locker room is so young. It's
Yep.
Askew, it's Gapare, and it's Perkins who are really the leaders on this team, the upperclassmen. So
Brennan
I
too.
think who's it?
Duke Brennan too.
Oh yeah, Duke Brennan, absolutely. Good shout. But going into a place like Michigan, into that hostile environment, you heard the announcers all night saying it was a Thunderdome, and the crowd was so rowdy. And Chrysler Center is not an easy place to play, but Devin Askew kind of played with this sense of calm and really hit some shots, obviously from the outside, which looks good on the box score. But I think outside of the box score and talking to his teammates and communicating and kind of being that leader, someone kind of hunting for his own shot as well was really beneficial. Really, what Villanova needed on the offensive end, even as ugly as it looked. And like we've talked about, we've hammered this home, but on Ken Palm, Michigan is the best interior offensive team and the best interior defensive team. And I'll raise it one more. They're not just the best interior defensive team this year. They're through how many games? They're through 9 games, 10 games. They're
Yeah.
through 9 games. Through 9 games, they're the best interior defensive team in college basketball history. Will that stay? Probably not. But that's just a testament to how good they've been so far this year. Yeah, overall, not too concerned. There were some things I didn't like, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I want to like drill into some of these. Just like jotted down a couple. I have like quick 7 items that I want to chat. Just 7 items, you know. But the first thing is just Michigan's defense. I think we saw that kind of from the top that like the ball pressure that they extended on us, like we could not get into an action at all offensively, which led to our offense turning into okay, who can go one on one, which is what we were talking about in the group chat, and it kind of turned out to be Askew in this game being able to like get one on one. Their ball pressure, their denial, their overall size and speed, like really, really like created problems for us. Which I want to take a step back to like kind of from the beginning of the game, it was like 4-3, and then it just was like very, very apparent how much better Michigan was, just in the speed that they were going to rebound, the speed at which they played with, the purpose, the confidence. Like we were thinking through the game, we were playing through it, and Michigan was just like we were thinking Michigan was just reacting and just playing, and it was very natural and it was free flowing. Like if we think about Michigan, there wasn't really a player who had like a specific standout game. Everybody came together and just kind of whooped ass like across the board. Um, and Michigan did this thing that I wanted to call out, and I actually just retweeted this. But Jordan Sperber, Hoop Vision 68, just released a video like a couple hours ago about teams going double big or going multiple bigs now. And Michigan is kind of going triple big between Lenborg playing the 3, Morris Johnson at 4, and then Ade Mara at the 5, and then putting out Cadeau. And then I don't know if it was Gale or I don't remember who started. But regardless, or Burnett, whoever it was, regardless, that triple big gave us so much issues defensively because of the skill of Lenborg, who I think is not I think I had him a top 15 pick last year. He's better this year. Like he's going to be a very clear NBA lottery pick. Mara, who has taken a very big leap from how we played at UCLA to where he is in Michigan. Like, he is so much better. And then Morris Johnson, who's also like very, very good as well, who might get to the league at some point. We'll see. But overall, like I came away from that thinking about like, okay, they could just defend us, and they were bigger than us. And Lenborg, I remember there was a situation. Lenborg was on the wing, and I think it was Askew was on him, and Askew like took him off the dribble, created space, and then Lenborg just like with his size and length and skill was able to like close out and closed out very well. And it was a bad shot or not even a bad shot, just a miss by Askew. And I don't put anything on Askew for that. He created the space that he should have. It's just like they have the size to cover this up. And so we got kind of bludgeoned by that, and we can see that by the fact that like of our fouls, Gapara and Brennan both had 4 fouls. Like I don't think anybody fouled out. Let me triple check. Yeah, no one fouled out, but they both had 4 fouls. And like your bigs are naturally going to get more fouls, but like they couldn't. They had to foul. They were fighting for their life in there. So that that's a shout out to Michigan, but it's just like how much better that Michigan team was than us. I would have liked us to see. I would have liked us to come up with like you said, a little more composure. Credit to Askew of like Michigan got up 21-7 or whatever the number was, and then Askew kind of went on a run to kind of make it fake, make it fake close and make it fake a game. But like I'll take that every day. And then there's two other things that are like a couple other things I wanted to hit here. Matt Hodge, you mentioned him at the very beginning. Hodge kind of just floated around the perimeter offensively and took threes. And he was 1 of 7 from 3. And I tweeted this from the Full 40 account, but I was just sitting there and I was like, this isn't the process. Like you clearly don't have the 3 ball right now. I need you to drive. Like they're still closing out decently, like pump fake drive and like find a better shot. I think what I wanted to get back to is like, I did not see like old school Villanova. There was like the good, better, best. And there was that extra pass a lot of the times. And what I saw with Hodge, and I'm saying specifically with Hodge, is I saw a lot of, I have a good look right now, I'm going to take it. And logically, that's fine, but there were better looks that could have been created. And I think that ball movement would have created more connectivity and more juice in the offense. And we may have been able to get to other shots. That also can be due to the fact that like Michigan was so connected defensively and was blowing up everything. I think sometimes we were just like, we need to get shots on the rim. Because if we didn't, we may have not gotten shots on the rim. And then my last 2 points, we saw Michigan begin to do something that I've been worried about teams doing, and they're the first one to really do it, was pick on a Caden Lewis defensively. They like, and it wasn't even just picking on him, like calling him out in actions or like ball screening him. It was doing screens off ball to get bigs on him when we switch. And there was a situation where it was like Lenborg was on Lewis, and it ended up being like an off ball foul, but it was just that moment, and Michigan saw it immediately and like went towards it immediately. And I think that's where I was like, okay, as we get into like Big East play and like McDermott and Hurley, they're going to find ways to get Caden Lewis off the perimeter, especially with like the more skilled players, and then cross match him and try to go at him. So this is where Lewis is just going to have to like, he's not going to put on 30 pounds of muscle over the season. Like, that's just not going to happen. So it's just how can he be smart and either fronting people, and like that also requires ball pressure from the rest of our team to make sure that the fronting is good, digging, being good at help defense, and like not for nothing, like we might just need to gamble a little bit more and try to create more steals in the open court before we get into that half court defense, because Lewis and also Lindsay are smaller and will get picked on. And so being able to prevent us from getting in those half court situations. And the last thing I saw, which I just thought was super funny, was the Michigan we went zone in the second half, which I think was the first time I saw us go zone versus them. I think
We opened the zone too.
Okay, we opened the zone. I missed the very
Mhm.
beginning of the game. So,
Mhm.
and then I don't know if this happened in the beginning of the game, but if we went to zone, I think it was around the 15-minute mark of the second half. Mara just flashed to the high post. They gave it to Mara, who's 7'3", and then like very clearly like made a clear pass. They scored immediately, and then we didn't do it again. At least for my notice, I stopped watching maybe around like the 5-minute mark of the game, where I was like, all right, this is kind of where I have other stuff to do. But yeah, that's where I just thought that was a funny note of just like, oh, let's try this, and then Michigan had to answer immediately, and I was like, yeah, never mind, that's not going to work. Which I just thought was funny.
When I say we open in zone, it was literally I was sitting on the couch and I was watching the game with my fiance, and she goes, "Oh, you guys are opening, or you guys are in a zone?" And I go, "Oh, I guess we are." It was the first possession. We opened in a 2-3 zone. The next time down the floor, they switched to man. I swear. If you rewatch the game, it's the first possession was 2-3 zone. I think Elliot Cadeau, who couldn't shoot in a bucket last year in North Carolina.
He's improved.
He certainly has improved. And that's a testament to Dusty May as well. He's doing a hell of a job over there in Michigan. No, you really hit the nail on the head for a lot of these points. Last person I wanted to shout out was Chris Jeffrey down the stretch at the end of the game. It was say what you want about garbage time. Cadeau was still in the game. Not Lendeborg, but Morez Johnson, I believe, was still in the game towards the end. Chris Jeffrey played without fear. He had some floaters, and it's been an up and down freshman year for Chris Jeffrey, but or sophomore, redshirt freshman. I don't know. It's his second year. No, first.
It's his first year. Yeah, it's his first year. Yeah.
All these new faces, I get confused.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Yeah, he had a really good stretch down the end of the game there. One last thing I noticed that Michigan did, as like we were just talking, I thought about this. And it's not even that Michigan did it. It was just like how we handled it. I didn't love. Michigan did a couple of full court press, but like full court trapping. And what I noticed that we did was we immediately inbounded it to the corner, which just made Michigan's trapping way easier. And we didn't get burned by it in that game, but it was just one of those things I saw. I was like, that's not where that inbounds needs to go. Like it was an immediate trap in the corner. And we were able to get it out. But like, just the thing to think about, or for like us to watch as we go throughout the season, like when teams do that full court trap to us, what do we do? How do we handle that?
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right, so we went through Michigan. Now we're into probably our most important stretch of. I'm going to call it the most important stretch of the season. Obviously, it's the most important of our season right now, like to date, but just in general. And the reason I'm going to call this like the most important stretch of the season right now is we have a chance between Pittsburgh, Wisconsin, and Seton Hall to get 3 wins that are very, very important to us, and they're all for different reasons. Pitt, we'll start with Pitt. We play them on Saturday, and we'll talk about each of these teams. But Pitt is not particularly good right now. Just not really a great team. And so this is a game that we cannot lose. If we think about like long term for like tournament hopes, whatever we think this team can be like to reach their ceiling, this is a game that you have to win. Have to win comfortably, realistically, and they're playing us at home. So like it's not like we're going to Peterson Event Center. I think that's what it is. It's not like we're going up to Pitt and playing them. So seeing us win by like 10 would be great here, and we'll get into the teams. Wisconsin, we're going to play at a neutral site in Milwaukee. We already talked about being neutral and how that isn't great for us. But regardless, Wisconsin's a solid team. I saw them in person at Rady as well. That's a game that's a tournament team that like if we win, that's a win that carries us through the season. Of like, hey, like, okay, we won whoever we beat in Big East play, and then they also have this win versus Wisconsin helping carry them. That will probably be a fringe tier 1 game, depending like on what the rest of Wisconsin season looks like. And then Seton Hall on the road. That's going to be tier 1 as of right now. It is, and it should probably stay there if Seton Hall is continue to be as good as they have been. So these are three key games. When we can't lose, when we need to win to like help our non-conference schedule, and then just a really, really good opportunity for a Q1 game. We'll start with the Pitt game. What's your thoughts on Pitt, led by Jeff Capel this year? Yeah.
I like the this year indicator at the end of
Yeah.
the end of your sentence.
I don't know how much longer he's going to be leading them.
Correct. Yeah, listen, I've said some things about Pitt. Do I think that they're particularly good? No, I don't. They just lost a game that they never should have lost to Hofstra. But I mean, those teams are in KenPom ranked a lot closer than one might think. But this is a team, Pittsburgh. Villanova's ranked 37th in KenPom. Pittsburgh's beat the number 36 team in KenPom. Granted, that was at home, but they're led by Cameron Corrin. He's averaging 14 points and 9 rebounds a game. You saw how we struggled a little bit with size against Michigan. Obviously, he's not on the level of any of those trio of Michigan bigs, standing only 6'10", but he is a load in the paint. So it's going to be a tough matchup that I'm going to watch a lot. This matchup against Villanova, I think it could be dangerous. What Pittsburgh does well, they're a decent three-point shooting team. They shoot the ball 34% from three as a team. Villanova has no interest in covering any three-point shooters. Granted, I don't think leaving Elliot Cadeau wide open from three is the worst strategy in the world, but sometimes it just doesn't pay off. I don't think they're as bad of a perimeter defensive team as the stats say they are, but there is a recipe for Pittsburgh to win this game, and they have beaten teams better than Villanova. They have beat a team better on paper, on paper than Villanova. So this game's going to be a little bit trickier than I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for the Wildcats, though. I do think they get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, calling out Corrin is a good one. For me, my player to watch out is DeMarco Minor. Minor is a transfer from, if I could remember this, he was at a JUCO. He went to SIU Edwardsville and then Oregon State, and now is at Pitt. I believe that's the process. He's shooting right now. I think he's shooting. Let me look right now. Yeah, he's shooting 41% from three on good volume. He's going to be like this is a big defensive challenge for our guards here. It's what I'm going to put it. He's undersized. He's 6 foot, but like he's going to be a defensive. It's going to be a challenge. He gets the free throw line pretty well for a guard. He's shooting 93% at the line, so when he gets there, he converts. And this is going to be a job for. I mean, realistically, we'll probably start with Perkins on him. Just understanding Perkins is probably our best perimeter like guard defender at the moment. And then we'll see like between Lewis and Lindsay, like how they handle things is there that standpoint. But he can get going in a hurry, like the classic like undersized guard who can put the ball in the bucket. Like that's what we're going to see out of him. He can get white hot, and then they're one of their like leading players, other leading players. Oh, we already talked about Cameron Corrin. So yeah, but I would say like DeMarco Minor's definitely like one to like keep an eye on.
Yeah, Brandon Cummings as well. Yeah. He had 34 points in that loss to Hofstra, and he comprises the backcourt with Minor. He's a 6'3" sophomore PA kid, but yeah, he's their second leading scorer. He's their second best 3-point shooter behind Minor. That's a formidable backcourt. So this game is there's a recipe for Pittsburgh here.
There's definitely a recipe there. They are not as deep as us, which can be good or bad depending on like the rest of the talent, but they truly go 7 deep, give or take, like maybe like 8, depending on how much they play some of their freshmen. But yeah, so we know that doesn't truly matter, but we do have bodies to throw at people, which is one thing, like I've said already on the pod, I love that we're deeper this year. And then we talk about Wisconsin. So Wisconsin's one I'm excited to kind of chat through. So I saw Wisconsin play. They are led by a couple of different people. So there's Nick Boyd, kind of the head of the snake for them from the guard position. Nick Boyd was at FAU when they went to their title game, transferred to SDSU last season, scoring guard. He's looking to score at all points. He's like very feisty. He wants to get downhill and like just like kind of like be make your life like a little bit of trouble. He's like such a pesky defender. Just makes things happen. He keeps Wisconsin connected. I the word I used for him, like when I was watching that, like I mean, both games versus TCU and versus Providence, was he's just assertive. He's assertive. He's energetic. He's high effort. He's going to be a player that's going to raise the level of play immediately, and so that's something that I think as a team, like we cannot walk if we walk in flat versus Wisconsin, Nick Boyd will put us out before we even get like started. It'll be Nick Boyd by like 12 quick points on Nick Boyd before we even have recognized what it is, especially in the neutral site. He's going to try to get the crowd like in on it quickly. He's going to be that player. He's the player I'm like most like worried about. The matchup I'm so excited to see is Nolan Winter versus Duke Brennan. Nolan Winter is a 7-foot big. He has some skill. He's a good rebounder. He will try to stretch the floor, but like I just want to see Winter versus Brennan play each other. What I love about Winter has been interesting is he's once again high level rebounder. We might just be having a rebound off with those two. They're going to go after the boards just really strongly. What guard has done with him is they'll play outside in with him. So they'll go 4 out with Winter being a little bit higher. And then when a guard breaks the plane and like starts to put 2 feet in, Winter will dive straight to the basket, get fouled, and like try to lay it up there. I thought that was really interesting where like they don't necessarily play through him, but they use him to like create space for guards to get downhill, or he goes downhill and then he attacks from there. He'll catch the ball high and he just dives hard. He just knows how to get the ball. I think you're going to see. My bet is this is your game. You're going to see Duke Brennan and Nolan Winter get tied up and like get feisty with each other because they're similar-ish players.
Duke's had a couple this year where you could tell he's wanted to. He's had some words for people.
Yep.
No, I'm really excited for this matchup. One guy on they're currently tied right now, Wisconsin and Nebraska. They're playing on the Big Ten network. Nebraska's 9-0. They're undefeated, number 23 in the country.
Nebraska ball, baby.
Yes, sir. You see all of their sports are popping off. Like their men's basketball, women's basketball, and women's volleyball are all like undefeated. And women's volleyball is like
women's volleyball, that makes sense.
35-0, like number 1 in the country. Learn something new on this podcast every episode. But the guy on Wisconsin that I wanted to bring up was John Blackwell, who's just been on an absolute tear. They played against TCU, a team that you're very fond of. That was their they have 2 losses, actually. I'm sorry. But that was one of them. They lost to BYU as well. That'll happen. But he had 30 points in the loss against TCU. He had 30 points in their last game against Marquette. He had 26 points in a win over Northwestern. This guy's legit. He's a 6'4" junior from Michigan. I'm really excited I assume, like you call back to the pick game, I assume we're going to have Perkins following him around a little bit just as our best perimeter defender. But man, I mean, this dude's like, he's averaging over 5 rebounds a game as a guard, 21 points per game. You might think that's just early in the season, but he averaged over 5 rebounds per game last year as a whole as well, shooting 43% from 3. John Blackwell's electric. And like you said, this is a neutral site game, so they're going to want to get the crowd in it early. And this is going to be a big game for both teams. Don't think Villanova doesn't have this game scheduled, circled on their calendar as well. They know the implications of the schedule that they've, for lack of a better word, scheduled, and what this could mean for them going down the stretch in March. So I think Villanova has a puncher's chance here. Wisconsin's perimeter defense is almost as bad as ours. But we're a way better 3-point shooting team than they are. You mentioned the Duke Brennan matchup in the post a little bit. Villanova is a top 10 team in offensive rebounding. Wisconsin's a top 10 team in offensive rebounding percentage. So they don't allow offensive rebounds, and Villanova gets them a lot. So this is going to be fireworks. I'm really excited for this matchup against Wisconsin, but it's one we have to have, and I'm really going to be watching the energy level and the 1-2 of these guys out of the gate.
Yeah, this will be fun. There's two more things I want to talk about. Two more players I want to call out Wisconsin. Not even negatively, just more of like it's going to be interesting. One, they have a Australian stretch big. His name's what's Austin Rapp. Watching him in person, he looks like an NBA player. He will stretch the floor. He just doesn't do it effectively yet. He's shooting like 30% from the three. It was one of those games I was watching him and I was like, this guy looks like he should be like an NBA stretch four. He's like very mobile. He blocks a lot of shots. Like it looks like it should make sense for him. And he just hasn't been able to hit the three ball. I say that to say he's still going to take them. It's kind of like a Matt Hodge situation where like Hodge hasn't really knocked down threes yet, but like in theory, like I should watch out for this person who's going to be a shooter. He's just, I mean, we can call it like a larger Matt Hodge. It's kind of really, really like just like broad, giving a broad stroke to it. But that's just, he's a player that I like watched and he popped off to me. Like I was like, oh, this is like, he didn't have a great game, but he just like physically looked the part and I could see the skill there. So that's one player to watch out for. And then the other one is, this one's going to be slander and he's going to like hit a game-winning basket versus us. So I'm sorry, everybody. Andrew Rohde, who played at UVA. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Get ready to learn Big Four accounting, buddy. Like, that's just he's just not very good right now. And maybe he'll get back. But he wasn't like that great at UVA either. It was a game. I'm not a fan of his game. I'll leave it like that. That's what I'll say about Andrew Rohde. It's just we'll see. And once again, he will be the one to hit the game-winning shot versus us. I'm going to tell you right now. So don't yell at me when he does this. Be like, oh, you said he was terrible. Like I'm telling you right now, if there's a game-winning shot, he's the one who's going to hit it.
Naturally.
All right, so our last matchup is versus the Hall, our first Big East basketball game. We are Hall in for this. Seton Hall is like kind of better than expected. They're 9-1. Yeah. They're 9-1. Only loss is by 2 at a neutral site to USC. They beat an NC State team that is pretty consistently top 25. They took care of business versus Kansas State, Kansas State's whatever. But like this is a like good Seton Hall team. This is a huge opportunity for us to get a win on the road. Now, this is a thing I don't think people are really like thinking about. This is everybody's first Big East game since ever. It's Willard's first game in the Big East since leaving Seton Hall. So it's already going to be really juiced up. None of the players have played Big East basketball except for Tyler Perkins. So I have a feeling we're going to get a shock to our system versus Seton Hall. Is kind of what I'm saying. Kind of my takeaway from it. Just because they're going to be ready for Kevin Willard's homecoming, and there's not like a lot of hate. Like there's still a little bit of like vitriol towards him, but like or vitriol, I don't know how we pronounce it. But yeah, I'm just kind of like narrative wise. This is we're playing Big East basketball for the first time on the road. I'm a little bit worried about it, but what are your thoughts on the Hall?
Yeah, you mentioned a matchup for Duke Brennan that you were excited about in the last one. I'm going to mention one here. I'm so excited to watch Duke Brennan go up against the aptly named Baby Shaq. That's his nickname, Nijay Hines. He's averaging 2.5 blocks a game, 7 points, 5 rebounds. He comes off the bench. There's no reason for him to be coming off the bench. This guy, he needs to start. AJ Stant-McRae is going to be the one that we're going to want to talk about for Seton Hall. But before we do that, I want to talk about Bud Clark a little bit. 5 foot. He's listed as 5'10". He's also listed as Adam Clark on ESPN. That's a nice little twist. He's listed as 5'10". That's a program friendly 5'10". he has the sweetest mid-range step back you've seen in a very long time.
Yep.
Granted, it is against teams like New Haven, Fairfield, Wagner, and St. Peter's, but getting to watch him it is a ton of fun. Seton Hall's ranked 57th, and Ken Palm, I don't know. I'm not fully bought in on the Hall yet. They have that great win over
Yep.
NC State. They have a good win over Kansas State. They only lost to USC by 2, which I was shocked with. They're way better than I thought. I picked them last. I was wrong about that. I was wrong about Michigan. They're definitely they're closer to first in the conference than they are to last at this point. But they're neither of those two things. They're gonna beat Rutgers with hammers on Saturday. Rutgers stinks. But yeah, this Seton Hall team, I like that you brought up the narratives, so I don't have to touch on that too
Yeah.
much. It's going to be Willard's first game back, Seton Hall. The stories write themselves, but yeah, Villanova has a real good chance to pick up a real quality win real early. So this stretch right here is extremely important to them.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like absolutely one of the most important stretches that we're going to have. Yeah, I mean, there's no one else I really want to talk about. Like, I mean, Elijah Fisher is an interesting player. One thing I will say, going back to Bud Clark, is loves the mid range. Like, will live in the mid range, lives at the rim, will get fouled so much. That man cannot hit a 3-pointer to save his life. Now, granted, we don't have the perimeter defense to make him not get to his spot. He's going to get to his spots no matter what. Like, we're not going to shut him down and make him shoot threes. So that's like that's kind of whatever. But yeah, Bud Clark, I get in the gym and hit some threes. But your step back's great, so I can't really say too much about it. And he's like, yeah, he's such a good player drawing fouls. But yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of, for me, this is less of like a X's and O's thing for me. And it's just like, all right, how are we going to handle the first Big East game? What is every team? How is every player going to take this? Because we know it. Like, there is going to be an intensity jump. There is going to just be like, it's going to be a little bit different. We were up for BYU, which was great. So I'm glad that maybe we were up for Michigan and then we got punched in the face. And we're like, oh yeah, never mind. Well, let's sit this one out. And then we'll see how I mean, Pitt and Wisconsin go as well. But yeah, I'm excited for this game. I think we're going to see Seton Hall, who's also very deep in terms of like Holloway runs a deep bench. Is playing, I think, like 9 players, like 20 minutes basically, or like near 20. So that's the thing definitely to watch out for from the Hall. Yeah, and that kind of brings us to like the end of our schedule. So like, once again, as we mentioned, called out, we have a kind of a must win versus Pitt, or cannot lose. I'm not going to call it a must win. I cannot lose versus Pitt.
I like that.
Yeah, a must win versus Wisconsin for the resume. Yeah. And then kind of another measuring stick game versus Seton Hall. Like, and this is a huge measuring stick game because like, all right, we lose to Seton Hall and it's like, okay, maybe we are more 5th, 6th, 4th, 5th, 6th in the Big East. Right. If we win, it's like, okay, maybe we are 3. And like 2? Like, what is up with St. John's? Like, is it just St. John's had a tough schedule, or is there a deeper problem? It's kind of where I'm at with St. John's. I think it's just a tough schedule that they like scheduled tough and they like just lost games. But regardless, like, if we beat Seton Hall, then we can start looking at, well, maybe we're chasing St. John's more than we think we are. But we will see when St. John's gets into it. St. John's has a lot more time. They've kind of been on like a weird, like, they've played 1 game since like Thanksgiving. So they're in like a weird kind of lull for them. Yeah.
St. John's is weird, man.
Weird.
Like, every game that they've played against anybody notable, I mean, they beat Mississippi.
And they beat Baylor, and Baylor's good. Baylor has like some good players.
Baylor's good.
Yeah.
Baylor's good.
They lost to Iowa State, who I love Iowa State this year, and we'll get to that soon. Yeah, but yeah, they're a weird team. I don't know what's going to happen. They have Iona on Saturday, so
and then a conference game, and then Kentucky, and then Harvard.
I kind of love Patino just like playing his old squads, just like, yeah, whatever. Let me get Iona, let me get Kentucky.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll play Louisville at some point. Just get them all out the way. Is there another Patino team I'm missing?
Yeah.
Oh, Providence.
Nope.
Yeah, Patino's. Am I tripping?
Oh. I thought you meant another Patino coach team.
Yeah.
Xavier coaches.
Yeah. That.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. No,
Yeah.
yeah, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick coached at
Yeah.
Providence.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also yeah, I'm assuming they don't play Xavier till later. I thought you might get the Patino Bowl in the first game in the Big East.
That'd be fun. There's a lot of
Yeah,
narratives the first game of the Big
yeah,
East. Might as well, right?
yeah, but instead they do DePaul, so sure, whatever. Um, so what I want to do is kind of something a little bit different. We don't do this too often, but just like since it's just you, me, Tommy, like I want to talk about like what have you seen or any teams within the Big East or within the nation that kind of like caught your eye.
Yeah. I'll start local. I'll start in the Big East.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start with the Connecticut Huskies. On the Road to the Garden podcast, we had our 3 hot takes um, for our cold drinks hot takes episode, and one of mine related to Patino, and it was I think this is his swan song. I think he's done after this year. He's going to play his son,
Ooh.
and that's going to be that. Um, my other hot take was I think this Connecticut team can win a national championship. I think they're that good. They're deep. They have Caravan back. He's a familiar face for a lot of the listeners. Solo Ball's one of the best guards, not in the conference, but in the country. Terrace
Yeah.
Reed only gotten better. And they're deep, too. Silas Demary and Malachi Smith. Demary's coming over from Georgia. He's been outstanding.
I love Silas Demary. Like I absolutely love him.
He's so good. Yeah, and like these are all like contributors on this team. Like all these guys that I'm mentioning, Eric Reba.
You haven't even touched Braylon Mullins yet, who, like, for anyone who doesn't know, Braylon Mullins, every draft person kind of has him top 20, and I'm being conservative. Like, there are people who have him top 15. Like, it's an NBA player. Just like, I'm going to be broad strokes, like, in the same mode as a Grady Dick. Like, they're not one-to-one, but, like, that's kind of the kind of player that you're generally dealing with.
100%. Malachi Smith coming over. I mean, this team is deep, it's talented, and it's got all the right pieces. I literally can't think of a weakness on this UConn team so far. But yeah, my next point is going to be about. I'll let you go next, see what you're talking about. But true freshman Braylon Mullins, and there's some good freshmen out there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start. I'll start Big East as well. So the Big East team I've kind of been like super kind of curious about has been Butler. They're 7-2 in the year, and I'm just trying to figure out what's real. They beat UVA, not that great. They lost to SMU, but metrics are pretty good. I don't remember what they're at in Ken Palm. They're 57 on T rank. They are a little bit low. Where did I lose Butler? 48 on Ken Palm. So it's like a pretty strong Butler team. Finley Bizjack is Finley Bizjack is playing to the point where I'm like, do I need to think about Finley Bizjack as an NBA player? Like a true, like that's kind of where he's getting at. He's been like really good. They had the transfer from Gonzaga or Pepperdine Gonzaga, Michael Ayayi as well, who's been very good for them.
Mm-hmm.
This is a interesting Butler team that I think is going to be like I would not be shocked if at the end of the year we looked up and it was Butler who was third in the Big East. And so I'm just like I'm a really fan. I'm just a fan of Butler. Like I like how this team has looked like thus far. And then they have a big Johan Traore. I'm looking at it right now. Traore, who was transferred from a couple of places, but was most recently at SMU, but also was at Auburn a couple of years back and was like a rotational, like big wing for them as well. So I'm excited for Butler. I just think they're a pretty decent team. And then kind of whipping around, anybody else within the country?
Without going too deep into the teams, I'm really big. I'll drop a team I am pretty big on. I'm pretty big on Michigan State this year.
Okay.
I like what they have going on over there, but more of a theme as a whole are these freshmen. I'm going to read you the 2025 top basketball recruits in the country, and it's laughable. Darren Peterson, AJ DeBansta, Cam Boozer, Nate Ament, Darius Acuff, Mikhail Brown Jr., Chris Sinak, Caleb Wilson, Braden Berries, and then Koa Pete at number 10. All 10 of those are hits. I mean,
Yep.
when we look back at this freshman draft class, we're going to be looking at one of the 1985, 2003 kind of
Yeah.
draft class. These freshmen are insane. Caden Lewis too.
Yep.
Gotta give him his
Painless
flowers.
is yeah. No, this is a really really strong freshman class. Overall, like I mean, I think they're great. I want to talk about, and I think everyone who knows how much I watch the draft, and I watch like basketball. I think about the draft. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give this team some shine. I came away from there's two teams I want to give shine from. One, it doesn't look as good, but the other I think are interesting. But Iowa State is that they went into Purdue and they blew the doors off of them. But even before that, this is a really, really good Iowa State team. Tamin Lipsey is there once again, incredible point of attack defender, just like such a good point guard, 4-year point guard. He is like the head of the snake defensively for them. But then they have Joshua Jefferson, who I will have like on my draft board. Like he will be a first round pick. He's a senior big. He was at St. Mary's. He is such a smart passer, such a smart defender. Like his IQ is absolutely insane. I come away like he has such soft touch. They can use him in the short roll. He is cerebral. I watch him play and I'm like, this is a clear NBA player on the floor. Like right now, he could go to an NBA team and like be a player right now for them. He needs to like I think he should like shoot a little bit better ultimately, but like for college, he's like doing more than enough, and he's shooting like 45%. He's not shooting on like the volume I would want to see at an NBA level. But Iowa State's fantastic. Milan Mama I think, is the best shooter in college basketball right now. He's shooting 54% from three. Like can on high volume, can literally shoot from anywhere, off ball, on ball. What I love the most about him, and this is me nerding out, like from a draft standpoint, is like when he shoots, his ability to get his shoulders square to the basket and line up. Doesn't matter if he's off movement, doesn't matter if he's coming off a pin down, doesn't matter where he is. His ability to realign his body is super, super special. It's why he shoots 54% from three. He's fantastic. And then they have a bunch of other like really, really good role players. So Iowa State's definitely a team that I like really like. And then a team that they played and they beat the doors off of, but I just have kind of liked this year, Syracuse. Syracuse just beat Tennessee. Like just beat. They played them like a week ago, change ago. They have St. Joe's tomorrow. They like I said this. I tweeted this like for my personal. Syracuse might be back. Like Donnie Freeman hasn't played for a bit, and they're like he's going to come back. And Donnie Freeman is an all ACC level player. He's really really good. They have a big William Kyle III, just can jump out of the gym, absolutely jump out of the gym. And I think he played at, am I making it? UCLA? That's where it was. I was going to say Utah. And then there's like JJ Starling, who's like decent. Tyler Betsy, who is a long wing and looks really good. Then the player I really like is Nathan George, their point guard. Like I come away liking Syracuse because I like Nathan George so much, where I'm like, oh, I believe in him as a lead point guard. And because of that, I'm like in on this team. I don't know if they're going to like, they'll probably be like an 11 seed if they're able to make it, just off the fact that like they didn't get the 3 wins that they needed because they lost to Houston, Kansas, and Iowa State, and then they beat Tennessee. But like those were three top 5 seeds at minimum, or 4 that they just played in a row. And they went 1 of 4, and they should have beat Houston, and they didn't. So like I came away from Syracuse like really really excited. Syracuse might be back. This might be one of those years all of a sudden Syracuse is a 10 seed and you're like, why is Syracuse in the Final Four again? I don't know if they're actually Final Four good, but like that's just like
I think we're due for one of those. It's been a while since we've had one of those.
Yeah, one of those just like power teams that's underseeded. I mean, I guess technically UCLA and COVID was one. And then I mean FAU made it, but like that was different because they were like more Cinderella-y.
North Carolina when they beat Duke in the Final Four.
Yeah, North Carolina. I guess that was at 8. They were at 8.
8, yeah, because it would have tied us.
Would have tied us. Yeah.
That's another team I want to talk about.
Yeah.
There's North Carolina. We were talking about the freshman a little bit. This
Yep.
freshman that we're not talking about a lot on a national scale, but I think we should, is Caleb Wilson. I mean, 6'10". He leads the country in dunks. This is the biggest team in the country. This is the
Yep.
tallest team in the country. He's only 6'10". He's a true freshman. He will not be back at North Carolina next year. He's going to be on an NBA roster.
Yep.
He is extremely talented. Henry Vasar came over from Arizona, I believe it was.
Arizona. Yep.
Luka Bogovac got clearance from the NCAA to play, and they're winning these games. Recently, they beat Georgetown, they beat Kentucky, they beat Kansas. They had Seth Trimble for Kansas, but the last two games they haven't had arguably who I thought was their best player, Seth Trimble. Broke his wrist working out in the gym on campus, and the equipment fell on him and broke his wrist. So that's tough, but it looks like he's doing some individual drills. He'll be back soon. Yeah, this North Carolina team, I don't know how highly seeded that. A lot of that's going to be dependent on obviously what they do in conference play in these games against Duke. But this is a team that could be a 4 or 5 seed that you just keep clicking in your ESPN bracket challenge.
I completely agree. Caleb Wilson he's just like, I mean, like from a draft perspective, I've been watching him since the beginning of the season. Like I didn't really pay much attention to him beforehand. Dunks everything, good defender. And like he's mean, but also confident in a way that like, what did he say? I think he said after the Kansas game, he played alongside Darren Peterson in the McDonald's All-American game. Darren Peterson took all the shots basically, and he kind of like had that as motivation and said like, I'm going to win because I want to prove like I'm better than Darren Peterson, and they won. They won that game. So Caleb Wilson's really fun. This is a really, really strong freshman class. We also still have like a lot of like good senior laden teams between like I just talked about one in Iowa State. Michigan State's a little bit older.
Florida's still a little old.
Florida's old. I have my issues with Florida. But I think I think they're clunkily put together. Their guards aren't good enough to make up for like them playing 3 bigs.
Are you telling me an Ivy League transferring to the SEC is going to struggle?
Xavier Lee should have left. Like he had enough draft buzz last year to kind of be like, all right, let's go and like see what happens. This isn't great. He's real small, but he can finish at he can do a really good looking move at the rim. He doesn't necessarily finish, but he can do a really good looking move to get to the rim.
Make it look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, we'll be back at some point, probably a little bit after the holidays, judging by the pace that we've been going at. But once again, thank you all for listening. Really appreciate it. We're excited. I mean, we have a big stretch coming up here. Hopefully, sooner or later, we're able to get Chris and Trevor back on the pod. Just schedules haven't really worked out like that. But we appreciate you bearing with me and Tommy. Once again, if you guys are Saudi Arabian and have access to sports washing money, we are open to it. Just reach out to us at the Full 40 or at Full 40 Nova on our email. You could also reach out to my bank account directly. Don't tell me where it's from. Just deposit the money with an emoji and I'll take it from there. Don't worry about what I do with it after that. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for listening. And as always, let's go Nova.
Yes!